Hello and welcome to Vegas Ace's free course on 3-card poker. I'm your host, Heather Ferris, and I'm going to teach you how to play as well as deal 3-card poker. That's right, I've combined the information for both how to play and how to deal 3-card poker all into one. But don't worry, these videos will mostly be about how to play 3-card poker. If there's any information specific to dealers or on how to deal the game, we'll alert you with this dealer's edge. And if there's a large amount of information to give dealers, we'll put that in a separate video. In this video, I'm going to teach you about poker hand rankings as well as the betting options that are available to you. Due to the way that this game is played, there will be times when you'll actually see players happily celebrating the fact that they just got 666. Three-card poker is a popular carnival game that uses a standard 52-card deck. Now, the first thing the player needs to do when they want to make a wager is decide how they're going to bet. They have 3 options available to them. The first option requires only one bet, which the player will place on pair plus. When playing pair plus, the object of the game is to get a pair or better out of the 3 cards the player is dealt. The player is not betting against the dealer or any of the other players. The player is only betting on if he'll get a ranking hand or not. The pair plus wager can be any amount between the table minimum and maximum. The second option available to the player requires 2 bets of the minimum wage. This means that if you sit at a $5 minimum table and bet this option, then your actual minimum bet per hand is $10. This is because both the play wager and the ante wager must always be exactly the same amount. The player will place their first wager on the ante betting circle to start playing. If they like their cards and they want to continue, then they'll place their second wager on top of their cards and in the play betting area. The player's cards will be compared to the dealer's cards in order to determine who has the best poker ranking. The object of the game when playing this option is to get a better poker hand ranking than the dealer in order to win. The third option requires 3 bets since it combines options 1 and 2 together. This means that if you sit at a $5 minimum table and you play all 3 bets, then your actual minimum bet per hand is $15. The ante and the play must always be the same amount, but the pair plus can be any amount between the table minimum and maximum. The pair plus doesn't have to match the ante or the play. After the player has received their cards, they must place a wager on the play betting area in order to continue playing. If the player does not place a wager on the play betting circle, then the player will automatically forfeit their hand, losing both the ante and the pair plus wager. Keep in mind that when the player is betting on both the pair plus and the ante wager, they are playing with 2 separate pay tables. That is why the ante bonus payouts are different from the pair plus payouts. But as always, every casino is different, so make sure you know your house rules. In Louisiana and certain California casinos, the ante wager is a mandatory bet that every player must play, while the pair plus wager is an optional side bet. As the dealer, before you deal your first hand, scan the layout and make sure that all bets are placed in their correct betting areas, and that there are no bets under the table minimum or over the table maximum. Be aware that the players aren't allowed to bet on other players' hands. You might notice some of the other players playing blind. Most casinos allow blind betting, which is when the player wagers on all of his bets that are necessary in order to continue playing without ever looking at his cards to see what he has. Normally, when a player bets blind, they don't see their cards until the dealer turns them over. One time when I was dealing this game, I had a player who never played blind before and decided to try it for his first time. On his first hand, he got a 3 of a kind, and then the second time he played blind, he got a straight flush. He played blind every single time after that, and he always got a ranking hand. After an hour of doing this, he finally cashed in thousands of dollars ahead of what he started with, and he loudly proclaimed, "This blind thing is great. I've got to do this more often." In 3-card poker, the poker hand rankings differ slightly. In traditional poker, a flush beats a straight, but in 3-card poker, a straight beats a flush. I've provided a list of all of the rankings for 3-card poker, starting with the best hand the player can get. The straight flush consists of 3 cards, in sequence, all with the same suit, and this ranking beats all other hands. Next on the list is a 3 of a kind, and this occurs when all 3 cards are of the same value. A 3 of a kind loses to a straight flush, but it beats all of the other rankings. A straight is next, and this occurs when all 3 cards are in sequence regardless of what their suit is. Because the ace can be counted as high or low, the highest straight is an ace, king, queen, while the lowest straight is an ace, 2, 3. A straight wins against a flush or lower, but it loses against a 3 of a kind or higher. Next on the list is a flush, and this consists of all 3 cards in the same suit. A flush wins against a pair or lower, but it loses against a straight or higher. A pair is next, and this consists of 2 cards of the same value. A pair wins against high card, but it loses against a flush or higher. High card is next on the list, and this is referring to 3 unmatched cards, with the highest ranking card being the high card. For example, if the player has a queen, 9, and 6, then she has a queen high. When saying this phrase, put the card first and the word high second. Otherwise, there might be some confusion. That does it for today's show. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments section below. Does it bother you that this game advertises a minimum of $5 per hand, when in fact most people play a minimum of 15? And do you think that the poker hand rankings should be in the same order as traditional poker? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and thanks especially to our patrons at Patreon. If you want to help us keep making episodes like this, then please go to patreon.com/VegasAces to learn more.